morphs into a third root race. This is called Lumerians. Now, this is when it starts to get interesting because now we're dealing with physical beings. And the reason why I'm mentioning Lumerians, because the Lumerians were the first ones to operate what we would consider mutated or mutation. They were obsessed with combining sound and light as one. And when you combine, we are sound and light. When you combine sound and light as one, when they're not separated but unified, you create a very powerful construct. And during the time of Lumeria, some would say these were like amphibian or reptilian constructs. They, in essence, laid eggs. Prior to the Lumerians, they would be considered a plant-animal hybrid that budded, and it kind of produced like budding. Another example of a Hyperborean would be gremlins. When you pour the water and they pop out like buds, that is an animal plant-based concept. Very interesting. And then the Polarians clone themselves. So sound is always in the cloning. If I make a sound, I want you to replicate it. I want you to follow it. You know, sing with me. So etherical beings clone themselves. Hyperboreans had the ability to spread their light and hope that something captured or picked up their light, which was these Lumerians. And these Lumerians now pick up the light and sound of these entities. And this is where you get what some would consider the Nephilim. This is a part of this order, Lumerian giants. You are basically getting physical beings that dealt with spirit. Now, spirit is a very interesting concept. Many like, what is spirit? Well, spirit technically is considered a form of consciousness that has information stored in it. And if you interact with this spirit, you can gain some of this consciousness. But that's what these Lumerians did. They basically listened to the ethers, listened to the astral realm. They would stay in long days of meditation. They would do drum circles to have out-of-body experiences. They were obsessed with spirit. They were obsessed with meditation. They were obsessed with perfecting themselves. They were obsessed with living long to gain more and more information so that they can have the 100% consciousness. They were obsessed with mutation. And this is where we get the War of Lumeria versus Atlantis, because these are two different forms of consciousness that are interested in mutation, but they don't want to do mutation through the same concepts. So I'm going to give you an example of what the Lumerian race would do. When we were young, we used to play a game called Duck, Duck, Goose. Once again, you got to ask yourself, where did this come from? We just out of nowhere, just playing Duck, Duck, Goose. It don't have no spiritual connections. It does. Because in Lumeria, Duck, Duck, Goose was a way of cellular manipulation. It was a way of anamorph. It was a way of turning into other concepts. So say you have humanoids sitting in a circle, and one is the duck, and it transforms itself into a duck and starts to walk around the circle and then picks the goose, and that turns into the goose, and you're watching a duck and a goose run around, and then when they get back into the circle, they transform back into a humanoid form. These was exercises. These aren't games.
Damn.
These were exercises, and these are exercises we have to get back to, but because we cut off the right side of our brain, because we're not hemi-synced, we don't believe it. And the lack of belief is the lack of production. How can you produce if you don't believe? How can you achieve if you don't believe?
Right.
It's crazy. So the Lumerians were big on games. For example, hide and seek. That's another game, and that involved invisibility. That involved cloaking. They would do weather manipulation games. Surfing. They would bring waves on, and that would be one of their pastimes, being able to control the oceans to bring large waves in. Man, this is all stored in us. And all we have to do is start to dig deeper within our subconscious, dig deeper within ourselves, and realize, damn, I like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because that's a no-mo. That's something I was at a time. That was something I was. That's why we're so gravitated to it. We're so gravitating to this anime. We're so gravitating to these other versions of ourselves. And we got to ask the question, why? Why are we gravitating to these things? Because they're stored in our genes and they're just waiting for us to explore. Just exploring it doesn't mean that you have to completely engulf it or develop it into your life. Exploration doesn't always mean integration. We used to be Goonies. When we were young, we used to be more explorative. We used to be more willing to try things and experience things. It seems like the most people willing to do right now is download an app. Maybe double tap a screen. So that is a problem because they are in order to bring out something, you have to meet it with equal or greater strength. That means that you have to identify it. In order for it to come out, you have to identify it. It won't just happen by itself. You have to identify it. You have to identify the depth of yourself. And this is why you have to go into Back to the Future. All right. So here's the thing about the Lumerians. They were their own demise. They fell from overindulgence in meditation, overindulgence in the astral realm. They got so obsessed with outer body that they lacked their own body. And that was the fall of the Lumerians. And I see that happening right now. So many people so coiled up, so tight about this spiritual stuff. Relax. You don't need to. There's no, listen, the emotions is cool to express, but don't get that heavenly invested in this thing. They could pull the plug on this at any moment. This YouTube, this TikTok. That didn't show you that. Like, we can't get that invested in this. Get invested in yourself. Get invested in yourself. So, but get invested in yourself with balance. I know people who go to the gym so hard that that's all they do. They don't have no relationships. They don't have no sex life. They don't even enjoy food. They eating hot potatoes. I gotta get to the gym. I'm like, damn, you ain't even eating. And you understand you got ancestors coursing through your blood that like food, and you just in the corner eating a hot potato because you overindulging with the gym. Balance it. And you balance it by always trying to reach for something new, always being willing to be explorative. You got to explore yourself. Mutation is a part of exploration. There won't be no mutation without exploration. All right, so that is one of the things that the Lumerians lacked. They focused so much on their outer shell that they negated their physical shell. And that then allowed them to get taken over, which would, in essence, be considered possession. So when they became possessed, well, just like anything, when you become possessed, you take on a new identity. So like the police department, you give a person a badge, he get possessed by that badge. He feel hot shit. He freeze, you know, you're doing the most. Like, damn, relax. You're supposed to be a public servant. You held for the people. What you doing? Calm down. You coming in hot. But that's because they get possessed by this new identity. And that's what happened to the Lumerians. They were too busy going out of their mind that something took over their mind. And that is then when the Atlanteans start to rise. Fourth root race. Now, the etherical beings consumed ether. The light beings consumed light. This is why I often say the Lumerians, the land of Mu had a lot to do with a animal plant-based concept because chlorophyll, plants absorb light. Get it? This is a plant thing. Venus flytrap. If you don't believe in plant animal concepts, these are a real thing. That's a carnivore. I don't know if you process that. The Venus flytrap is a carnivore. Vampirism comes from the Venus flytrap, but that's a whole nother lecture. We'll leave that alone. So second root race consume light. Remember, you are all these things, family. We're going to get to our race, but we are a combination of all these things. You are an etherical being if you can access the memories of the universe. Now, more melanin, more access. More melanin, more access. Let me tell you about the Chernobyl and the Hiroshima creatures. So Hiroshima and Chernobyl are one of the most nuclear radiated areas of the world. And white coats, the Caucasian white coats said, oh yeah, no life can survive around these conditions. No. But then they go back 10, 15 years later, and in Chernobyl, they got green glowing-eyed wolves that are bulletproof. They've shot these things and have seen they regenerate themselves. They are large, giant black wolves. Over in Hiroshima, the green frogs turn black. And they have cloaking ability. They can go invisible. And science says they've achieved this because of their melanin. It is their melanin that helped them handle this nuclear radiation. Oh, man. Wow. Talking about we have this stored in our genetics, humans and animals, to handle nuclear radiation, because 50 million years ago, there's evidence of nuclear radiation. There's 17 different examples of nuclear radiation in antiquity. So we worried about some nuclear stuff when we got the codes in our body to transmute it, to go wolf frog on them. I'm on some could this radiation be one of these things they're using as an activating tool? So more melanin, more access. Here's the thing though. Many want to act as if like a Caucasian don't have a ability to access a power or powers. And I'd be like, bro, you're really misconstrued about that. The melanated person has access to more powers. So say there's 100 superpowers out there. The melanated person could access all 100 because they have inner and outer melanin. And certain superpowers require external melanin, like electricity manipulation, static shock. It was a black man. Why was he up there? Because he's showing you the melanin is a part of electric manipulation. Storm. The melanin is connected to the electric manipulation. We have an electromagnetic field. If you can get control of your electricity, you can levitate, you can fly, you can float. It's a lot of stuff that comes from that. But because we are targeted, we don't get time to practice it. We don't get the opportunity to explore it. We're getting shot at, police pulling us out of cars, our own brothers killing us. I mean, it's crazy work out here, but we don't get the time to explore it. Now, melanin is a key component in superpowers. I won't deny that. But do you know you have melanin in your brain? And everyone who got a brain got melanin. So then if you're telling me the brain got melanin, well, white folks got a brain. And this is why they have psychic abilities and they have 50 years of working on it. Helen Blavatsky, Edgar Casey, these motherfuckers sit there and dedicate their whole existence while we picking cotton. And this is why we have to start realizing this whole division thing is a slippery slope. It gets slippery because it gets sticky. Because the reality is, I don't know too many melanated people that can go up against some of these 50-year psychic MK Ultra gate program having ass folks. I don't. And that's what we want to do. You sure? I'd rather be like, each one teach one. Each one teach one. I can show you how to levitate. I can show you how to develop melanin. How about that? How about the developing of melanin? This is a real thing that you can get a person that is not able to handle the sun to the point where they can handle it. The only reason why they're having so many complications with the sun is because they don't acknowledge us, son. The moment they acknowledge us, the sun ain't gonna fuck them over the way it's doing. But it's a deep thing. So we go play the corpse.
What kind of weed you smoke today, man?
None.
It's because
none.
You going in tonight, man. God damn.
Shit,
go ahead, brother.
It's important. It's important. We have to realize. All right. So when you activate this Lumerian aspect of you, it's okay for you to discover your fire, because that's in essence what they did. They discovered their fire. but some people get burned by it. And this is what's happening. You have to take your time with your fire, with your spiritual journey, with your awakening, whatever words we want to use. You got to take your time with this. There ain't no clock we hitting for spirituality, for awakening, for understanding. You stressing yourself being that serious. But there's so many people burning themselves with their own fire, getting burnt by spirituality, getting burnt out by spirituality, running back to Jesus. So 2025, run to Jesus movement. Thank you, Wes Hoff. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I get it. I get it. You're going to run to anyone else when you can't run to yourself.
Right.
So,
oh man.
So I consider Lumerians spirit-based beings because they focused on the awakening of their spirit. I want you to think of a spirit as, say you have a legion. You have a legion of spirits, all right? And each spirit could be a god. You can have Ogun inside you. You can have the Orishas inside you. You can have Odin inside you. These are thought forms, by the way. But you can have these concepts connected to you. You can be embedded with these consciousness, but you still have to realize that you are the temple they are entering. The problem is we are praising these entities when they enter in our temple. It's crazy work. Like, wait, hold on. Ain't I the temple? Like, ain't I the being that's kind of housing all this? Why I gotta turn around and praise you? I mean, it gets interesting, but be patient with your journey. Be patient with your fire. Be patient with the growth of you. Because when you're hitting a clock or you acting like a slave driver is cracking a whip on you, oh, I didn't meditate today, or oh, I didn't light the incense on my altar. Bro, you lost it. It's already gone. Relax. Those tools and those systems of exploration worked a lot more before paved roads, before drones, before social media. Get it? Like those things worked a lot better then, before we had Wi-Fi and 15,000 satellites circling our planet right now. Those things worked a lot more. But what works right now is the turtle, not the hare. We've all learned that story. What works right now is the turtle, not the hare. All right. So the Lumerian race, like I said, they were more reptilian. Every time you kind of hit that fight, flight, fornicate, and freeze aspect of yourself, you're kind of tapping into your Lumerian self. And when you hit the fight, flight, fornicate, and freeze mode, you end up reaching out to a spirit to assist you. And sometimes those spirits is nefarious. Sometimes those spirits are trying to attach you because you're in the frequency of fight, because you're in the frequency of freeze, because you're in the frequency of flight, or let's just fornicate. Other things are saying, oh yeah, I know that. I'm a pimp. I know fornicate. You got whole ghost pimps attaching to you because instead of you dealing with your issues, you want to fornicate. You just want to distract yourself with Pornhub and sex. Luckily, they make y'all age verified nowadays. Can't just hop up on there no more. Crazy world we're in right now. But don't let principalities and ideologies take over your shell, family. It's a turtle race. You are in charge of your own shell. We on Turtle Island right now. North America is Turtle Island. The turtles is speaking to us. It's okay. Go at your own pace. That is the message of America. When you're on someone else's pace, it's over. Go at your own pace. You are here. Get it? Hair, here. You're here. You're here. Relax. Go at your own pace. Because when you don't, you burn out. When you don't, you disappear. Remember, the hare fell asleep, so he ain't on the course no more. And if you're getting locked up, if any of these things happening, slow down. Slow down. Getting canceled, slow down. These things happening, slow down. That's it. Not give up. Not quit. One foot over the other. That's all we can ask for from ourselves right now. Everyone here, everyone in this community, putting one foot over the other. You in motion. God is movement. The universe is movement. How do I tap into my God? Move. How do I tap into the universe? Move. It don't happen standing still. Digestion does. And sometimes we have to pause to digest. So remember, everything with balance. So anyway, we then lead into this fourth race, this fourth root race. These are known as the Atlanteans. And these Atlanteans were a water-based being. So, etherical-based being consumed ether. The land of mutation, mu. These are beings that consume light. We are sitting here watching people online, watching the light 8 hours a day. We are in the land of mu. Every time we on this phone, observing light beings, observing the light, observing the thoughts of others, light capturing the light. You then become Lumerian, where you are then digesting the information you have obtained, and you are sitting with it, meditation. You are digesting, you are processing it, but then you're not supposed to get stuck there. Then you get emotion. That's what the waves mean. That's what the water means. Get on the wave. Get on the wave. Get on the sound wave. Get on the etherical wave. Get on the wave. Mm-hmm. And when you don't get on the wave gets you. You get flooded. You get drowned. You get submerged by the waves. This is what's happening to certain people with lighter complexions on this planet right now. They're being taken over by the waves. The sun waves is not helping them right now. Get it? The waves is affecting them because they ain't on the wave. But anyway, so the Atlanteans, they consume water, and they were actually transitioned or killed off by water. The Lumerians died by fire. On Mu, they died from a polar shift. So the Muse were mutated from a polar shift. All right. So the etherical beings were mutated by something engulfing their memory. Remember, God tells you, honor me, praise me. Because the moment you don't honor and praise God, that memory can cease to exist. And if the memory fades away, they fade away. They cease to exist. So memories are vital in immortality. So etherical beings are immortal beings if they can keep the memory of themselves alive. Even if they got to turn their names and become different things, as long as they can keep the memory of themselves alive, they exist. So, Atlanteans die by water. All right. Brother Rich has a phobia of the water. Why? Because Brother Rich probably was a part of the Atlantean movement. And one of the biggest things the Atlanteans were into was crystal technology. Now, we are using a quartz crystal in front of this thing. There are 500,000 people that observe Brother Rich through a quartz crystal. Mm-hmm. The crystal technology is vital in Atlantis. Crystal technology is almost everything we are doing right now, because the Lumerian technology, which was gear tech, basically they used gears to accomplish everything. They would have flying ships with gears. They had the Tartarian order as a part of this gear tech as well. But basically in the 1800s, they started showing us gear technology, and it scared them, so they wiped that off the planet real fast. A train, gear technology, gears. So the Lumerians specialized in gear technology, metal technology. They were able to build robots from gears. They could wind up robots with gears, gear technology. So if you're a bike rider, if you're really into gears, shifting cars and stuff, that's Lumerian. You like gears. If you're into music, if you're into cameras, lenses, crystals, a lot of crystal technology in a camera, a lot of crystal technology in a phone. If you're into those things, you're more Atlantean.